Yo, guys. So I'm a little bit waved right now, but I thought I'd share with you a little bit of a story that kind of exemplifies to me what popularity actually is and what it's actually not. Because all my life, I kind of thought that, popularity is attained by just being true to yourself and having values and being the best person you could be. And yeah, I did find that not to be the case, which is funny because this happened years ago, but like I said, I'm waved, so I just thought I'd share. So this was back in 2019. I joined this group called Nintendo Switch London on meetup.com, which is pretty self-explanatory as for what the group is. And I made friends pretty quickly and rose up the ranks and got pretty popular organically, might I add, for just being myself and people like my energy and flair. And in contrast, well, I'll tell you where the contrast is. There was this other cool guy who had been there a while before me, like not literally on the day, but as in had been attending since before me, who had that uber cool energy which anybody could be envious of, including myself. Envious, not jealous, by the way. But yeah, and like everything was a good time for the weeks going until something really shone a light on what popularity really is and isn't. So for context, there were some other people in the group that kind of got involved in what was about to happen. So there was one guy with a quote unquote dark sense of humor, even though a dark sense of humor is still supposed to be funny, which, I'll get to in a minute. And there was this one girl from France who, yeah, she wasn't the brightest with all due respect to her, but how much of that, was a lack of brightness versus anything else, it's up to anyone to decide. So basically, like there was some discussion on the WhatsApp group, right, where the guy with the quote unquote dark humor kind of said the art style of this game is R-worded. And as a neurodiverse person, I did take offense to that. And I said, bro, you don't have to like the art style, but you don't have to use those kinds of words. And that started our whole debate on the group, as if there's something to debate about that, where basically other people chimed in about how they'd been feeling uncomfortable with some of the rhetorics and the kind of, I don't know what the word is, but the kind of like auras or whatever. I don't know why I'm starting on words, but yeah, basically the kind of environment that had been created in that group, not just neurodiverse people, but some LGBT people, amongst others. And basically, the girl from France kind of basically just said that anyone that doesn't like the group can just get out. And then, yeah, it started into an argument where I had an argument with her and I told her, this is a Nintendo group where everyone should, feel welcome because Nintendo is something, and, playing video games is something that should unite everybody. It's not a bloody South Park group or some shit. And basically after that, the popularity I had just completely dissipated and disappeared, even though there were some people thanking me privately for, standing up. But when I'd been to meetups after that, people would give me weird looks. The friendliness was completely gone. And when I spoke to the organizer about it, he was like, oh, yeah, you got to be patient with some people. Not everyone knows. But the girl was from France. Like, it's not a developing country. Like, and, well, I don't know what, if she was from anywhere else before that, but she was definitely French passing. But yeah, come on, France is not a developing country. Like, come on, man. But yeah. Sorry, forgot to mention, throughout that whole thing, that quote unquote cool guy that I mentioned before was completely silent apart from just making a comment about y'all needing Jesus. And, it was completely unclear who he was directing that to, but he didn't say jack shit. Whereas, he kept his popularity in mind, just upped and vanished, and, although it doesn't end there. So all of this kicked off in like July-ish time. And in September, basically, like they were all playing some game. I think it was Splatoon or something like that. And one of the girls, a really lovely woman who was part of our group, had a panic attack, right? And left the group. And one of the organizers, right, just started like taking shots at her for some reason, and people had to explain to him it's a panic attack. But at the same time, that's an organizer. Like, why was he elected to be an organizer if he doesn't know these basic things? And honestly, when I found out, I had a big problem with that. And I'll admit, right, when I had a few drinks on Halloween night, I kind of just said on the a smaller group that broke off, oh yeah, you guys are cool apart from some people. And then, yeah, I basically did start an argument. And then I basically said, yo, how could that guy say that? He's a real dumbass of an organizer, which, is not the worst thing I could say about everybody. Well, pardon me, anybody. And the other people in that group got really up in arms. Like, you can't say that. You have to be patient. And that cool guy, quote unquote cool guy, said in reference to me having a problem with the other guy taking a shot at the girl who had a panic attack, he he literally said, I personally don't think it's anybody or my responsibility to babysit anybody, in reference to somebody just taking shots. Like, where the fuck did babysitting come into it? You don't, like, if someone has a panic attack, at least don't take fucking shots at them, you know? And that's supposed to be the cool guy that everybody loves? It's so easy to be cool when you don't have any fucking morals, you know? I'm gonna say that straight. It is so easy. And that shines a light on what popularity is. I didn't get kicked out of the group, but I voluntarily left, but I might as well have been effectively kicked out. But anyway, what popularity is just basically low-key bowing down to the status quo, or just happening to coincide with the status quo and not disrupting it and not making anyone think about anything, and just, pardon me. Sorry, I tripped on my words a little bit there. What I meant to say was, if that example was anything to go by, then being cool just simply means conforming to the status quo, not challenging anything, not disturbing anything, whether it's right or wrong, and just basically not ruining the flow in any way, even if that flow should be ruined. That's what it means to be cool. Being cool isn't about, being a cool person, being good, being decent, thinking clearly. Nah, it's about playing ball and being a good little lapdog in a lot of cases. Harsh words, but fuck it, I said it. If that's anything to go by, then being cool isn't about who you are. It's how much you please and don't displease people. And in that way, anybody could be cool or popular, but anyone that's cool or popular can be replaced, And in that way, it's not really that special to be cool or popular. All you have to do is just basically keep your mouth shut in the places where people want you to keep your mouth shut. So am I salty about not being cool or popular sometimes? Hell no. I'm real. And evidently too real for some people. There's this idea that's embedded in a lot of people's psyches, including my own even at age 30, that if everybody likes you, that means you're doing something good, and if not every single person likes you, that means you're not doing something good. But that relies on the false assumption that everybody is fair of mind, and I can't emphasize how false that is. I've really learned at age 30 and through life experience up until this point that if there are a sect of people that just dislike you for no good reason, that means you're doing something right. You're pissing the people off who can't level themselves up, You're shining a light on, how do I say this in a nice way? You're shining a light on the kind of people who prefer to keep some parts of themselves in the shadows. Okay, I can't really articulate that well whilst I'm speaking on the fly, but you kind of know what I'm saying, So, this idea that you should be liked by everybody is bull crap. Not everybody thinks right. I'm going to say that. There's subjective differences in how people think, but there are subjective differences in the way that people think, but there are also objective differences, which are better or worse in the way that people think. And that's a fact. In most group settings that I go to, new or old, there's always a bunch of people who really like my personality and really vibe and resonate with me, and also a group, or at least individuals, who dislike me even before I've even spoken to them, and that's kind of normal. And I'm not gonna lie, it does bother me sometimes. Even at the PhD Christmas party, there was this one person who, just gave me weird vibes while speaking to everyone else, and yes, that did bug me. But you know what? This is my New Year's resolution, right? Okay, here we go. Basically, if someone dislikes me, and if I'm under someone's skin before I've even done anything, good. I'm glad I'm under your skin. If I ruin your vibe just by being there, fuck your vibe, I'm going to say it straight. I don't have to please everybody. And if I displease someone just by being me, then sucks to be you. This is a lot easier said than done to adhere to and not kind of, feel the sting when someone gives me a vibe like that. But hey, that's what New Year's resolutions are for, huh? Anyway, if you watched about 9 minutes and 20 seconds plus of all this, thanks for listening, and take care. Have a lovely day, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year if I don't post again before then.